Arkansas, Oklahoma State is the first game that we're going to talk about. Oklahoma State, of course, is about a touchdown favorite. The total, when I looked at it last night, was about 60. I think it's gotten bet significantly up. Yeah, wow. Now it's 62.5 minus 120 at Pinnacle. So a big move to the over, which is understandable considering Oklahoma State's offense. When I was capping this game, obviously Arkansas, huge, they were picked, I think, 14th in the SEC. Low expectations for them this year. Oklahoma State, high expectations. Nice win and cover against South Dakota State, a very impressive FCS team in their last game. And the question is just, how disrespected is Arkansas getting to start the year and and coming into this game? Obviously, the 70 zip win we take with a grain of salt, but I was thinking that maybe probably Oklahoma State minus the points is the way to go, just because they'll pull away with it late. But I was thinking maybe under or first half under, because Arkansas is going to come in here and try to really prove to themselves that that they're wrong. All the the preseason rankings are wrong, and I think they're going to try to play tough, slow it down, defense oriented football. Which if they're able to do that and not fall behind big early, will lead to a lower scoring first half. But obviously there's been a huge market move to the over, which is understandable considering the Oklahoma State offense. I was leaning under, and more so first half under when I capped this game, and probably, I guess, agreeing with everyone else that ultimately full game Oklahoma State is just too talented, and with a free play at least would take them -7. But what do you think? You chose this game at Dabby Cap. What do you like in here and why?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit of an outlier. I figure you're right. I think people probably should be loading up Oklahoma State here. You got Taylon Green at QB, the transfer from Boise State for Arkansas. And, he's under Bobby Petrino. You got Bobby Petrino back at the helm calling plays for the offense. And without Jimbo Fisher at A&M, Jimbo had his thumb on Petrino. Like, he really – those were two competing personalities that you just can't have, in the same coaching staff. And I don't think Petrino was ever really able to do what he does and open up the field. Whereas here at Arkansas, I think he's going to have that ability. And I think Green put people on notice week 1. Now, I know that was a FCS competition, and it's no big deal. But at the same time, they had the ball 10 times. They scored 10 times, right? Petrino knows what he's doing, calling plays on offense. On the other side, you got Bowman, for Oklahoma State, the QB in his 7th year of eligibility. I just think it's so crazy that we're seeing these 7th, 8th, even the tight end at Miami's got his 9th year of eligibility. But I digress. That's just crazy to see people making a decade out of a college career. But yeah, Bowman's going to be at the helm at the QB, and behind him, you've got Ollie Gordon, who is, arguably probably going to be the best player on the field, right? The running back for Oklahoma State. We all know, he's that guy. He's going to get the ball 20, 25. Oh, he might get 25 plus carries in this game. And one thing, Pete, that I will be on, and I want to make sure the chat hears this because there's no numbers yet and I can't make it official. I'll be on Ollie Gordon's rushing prop. I love betting college props. I will be on his prop. He had 104 yards in the first game. I think he can get close to 100 again in this game. The numbers should probably be around somewhere like 79. Just a guess. We'll have to see when it gets up there. So for Arkansas, the real question is going to be on defense, right? Can they slow down Ollie Gordon? Can they stop Bowman? Last year, they were 80th in team defense, allowing almost 28 points per game. If that hasn't improved, Gordon's going to have a field day. And I understand why people are on Oklahoma State. But you kind of touched on it by saying you like the under and you like Arkansas to make this a defensive-minded game. I think Arkansas shows some fight here. I really do. And even though Oklahoma State's going to be balanced and they're going to put up points, Petrino's going to call good plays that are going to put up points also. You got a dual threat quarterback for Petrino. I see this game going back and forth. I really do. I see it going back and forth. And while Arkansas's defense might be the reason they lose this game, I think they keep it close enough to cover. And it's 7.5. I got to take it. So I will be on the Razorback here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I was thinking. And I'm like, if it was 13, but like a lot of times these back and forth games, they're close. You see this all the time. Even the dog is like winning at the end of the third quarter, but then like class shows late. And then, the favorite gets the cover, which makes me nervous. But yeah, and Arkansas last year, they were kind of tough last year, even though they had issues with like fumbles and penalties and everything, and special teams. They didn't really get blown out. They were just a tough, scrappy team in general, right?
They were. And I feel like it's been a couple years of watching an offense completely and totally built around KJ Jefferson for Arkansas. And as great of a football player as he is, I got tired of watching that offense try and find a way to give him a 5-yard pass or run it right up the middle. Like, I'm much more excited about Green at quarterback with Petrino calling plays than I ever would have been about KJ Jefferson in Arkansas. I think this team has more potential than they have in a couple years.
Yeah, well, there's been a big move to the over from last night, like a 3-point move. The first half total is still just about 31. What's your take on that big move? I mean, obviously, at first glance, it makes a ton of sense.
I think that, outside of the schools that are playing FCS opponents who were able to cover the 50, and 34-point spreads, outside of that, we saw in week 1 a lot of games go under. And I know this is now week 2, but this is the first real competition that either of these teams are playing, Pete. So, yeah, I think that it could go back to that trend of, we see the first half go under, the full game go under. I like the under,
especially with Arkansas probably just probably going back to what they do best, which is pounding it. And if you think there's going to be a lot of running from Oklahoma State as well, let's see what the comment section has to say. The total is the side is just 7.5. Pinnacle has Arkansas plus 7.5, minus 106. So that's your official play, Dabby Cab.
7.5, 106. I'll take that right there.
Okay. Wager Detective says recency bias. We'll see what Oak State just did, built into the line already. Yeah. And Wager Detective likes Arkansas plus 7.5.
Now, out of all of the FCS schools, Pete, the Jackrabbits that Oklahoma State played, South Dakota State, that's one of the better FCS schools. That being said, Oklahoma State was getting pushed around a little bit on the line by them, and that's not something you want to see.
All right. Well, Dabby Cab liking Arkansas plus 7.5, current line minus 106 at Pinnacle.